So we can start to do the chanting straight away today before our meditations and Dharma talk. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sammasambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sammasambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sammasambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from their happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. Okay, so now we can get ourselves comfortable for some meditation practice. You can be sitting on a cushion, on a chair, couch. You can be standing even. You can be lying down or reclining if your back is sore, but don't fall asleep if you use this posture. Okay, so sorry I was a fraction late there coming in, like 1 minute. I didn't realize the time, and after I went for a long walk, I came back and had a shower. It's quite humid here today. So, but I'm happy to be here with you all again. and happy to be sharing the Dharma and sharing its experience right now of meditation. So release the tension in your body, starting from the bottom of your body, all the way up to your shoulders and to the ends of your fingers, and then back up to the top of your head. So we'll take a short while to do this right now. And when you are ready, bring your focus initially to the tip of your nose and follow the feeling of the breath as you breathe all the way into your lungs and then back out your nose again. Anapanasati, mindfulness of the breath. If your mind wanders from your breath, either through thoughts or mental feelings or any mental activity whatsoever, you'll be aware of that, and then you conscientiously replace your mind back onto the breath. And if your mind becomes dull, you wake it up a little bit by focusing more brightly on the breath. So let's practice like this now in silence for a few minutes. So you can feel very pleased with yourself for engaging in this practice and fill your whole being with universal loving kindness. Be loving and kind towards yourself. And now radiate this love and kindness out initially to your loved ones, family and friends. And also to strangers. And even those that you may find difficult, may even regard as enemies. May all these people be happy and have the causes of happiness, be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, and be peaceful. Now extend this love and kindness also to all of the different types of sentient beings, living beings around your immediate area. Those beings that live on the land and in the waters, fly through the air. Different types of physical forms, but all with a mind. Now extend the loving kindness further to include whole and other states and counties throughout your whole country. And other countries throughout the whole world, starting initially with those that you're familiar with, maybe have an affinity towards, those you don't know, and those that you may have some sort of aversion towards for whatever reason, until your loving kindness pervades the whole world. May there be happiness everywhere, everywhere be free from suffering, and may there be peace everywhere. Now extend your loving kindness out throughout the whole solar system and other solar systems throughout the whole galaxy. Now the galaxies throughout the whole universe. And throughout infinite space. May the limitless living beings be happy, free from suffering, be peaceful, and may they eventually, as swiftly as possible, attain unsurpassed supreme enlightenment. Now also be present here and now, and we will recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhicitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of Shunyata, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And so now, time to hear the Dharma. Remember the word Dhamma with a double M in English. This is how the Buddha's teachings, or the name given to the Buddha's teachings, is pronounced in Pali. Dharma with an R-N is how it's pronounced in Sanskrit. We can use either one of those. Dhamma is generally used, the Pali spelling and pronunciation is used specifically in the Theravada tradition, and Dharma in the Mahayana tradition and Vajrayana tradition. Just to remind you or inform you if you didn't know that. Okay, so There's no big deal. It's just language. You know, the language is, you could say the language is not the Dhamma or Dharma, actually, but we need the language to express. I think I've mentioned this to you before. There was somebody was saying to me, the Dharma, the Buddha's Dharma, the words of the Buddha are the ultimate truth. I said, how can the words be the ultimate truth? Isn't it where they are pointing towards? Then you can realize the ultimate truth for yourself. You can, you know, because we experience difficulties, you know, the first noble truth, we experience suffering, difficulties. And the second noble truth, there's the cause is attachment based on ignorance. We can realize this and realize that we can attain the third noble truth, the cessation from suffering, by utilizing the Eightfold Path, the fourth noble truth. And so then we can, so in this sense, you can say that suffering is a Buddha seed, you know, it's the seed to realizing, because it's going to make us practice. We realize if we really truly understand that suffering, we experience this, but it's impermanent. It's not an ultimate truth. It's not an ultimate truth. It's caused, you know, by attachment and ignorance. And so by uprooting this attachment and ignorance, we can realize our true, what we call Buddha nature or enlightened nature. Okay, so just wanted to point that out. So the 6 paramitas is what we are talking about right now. We have already gone through the generosity, 3 aspects related to generosity, or 3 types of generosity, the 3 aspects or 3 types of discipline or practice of morality. And today we start on the paramita or perfection of patience. So it will take about 3 weeks, or it could possibly be 4 weeks to go through this. I was writing myself some notes yesterday or the day before, and there was quite a few points I wanted to make. So we'll see how fast we get through it. Today, you know, I'll speak of generosity in itself and the 3 types of generosity. But then hopefully we can get on to and maybe even finish the not generosity, the patience, sorry, the patience when being harmed. Okay, so we will talk about this patience and the 3 types of, and initially. And I'll mention a few things that maybe you didn't think about before and some things that you already know. Okay, so hopefully you get something from these mere words that I'm speaking. Hopefully you get the meaning of the words, and then you can contemplate that, and then you can put it into practice yourself. That's of utmost importance. Remember that the Buddha's teachings are the finger pointing the way to the truth. You yourself must put them into practice for you to realize the truth. So excuse me while I look at my sheet here. So the first one, of course, is patience when being harmed. And then we have the second one is patience when confronting obstacles on the path. We can also call this courage for the Dharma. Then we have the patience with the nature of reality, which we can also call fearlessness of the profound truth of emptiness. Okay, we'll go into real detail over the next few weeks on the different ones of these, okay? Sometimes people have the wrong idea of patience. I think sometimes I think people think it's something that's passive, you know, to quote from a different religious tradition, turn the other cheek type of thing, you know. Some people, I've actually had somebody in a class say to me about this type of thing, turn the other cheek so they can punch you in the opposite cheek. You know, somebody smacks you in the, like that, you turn the cheek so you can hit like that. No, it doesn't mean that at all. It actually, people think that actually means to, you know, don't react, you know, don't be reactive and act in an aggressive manner back to the other person if they're being aggressive to you. Okay, so it means to protect your mind, really, you know, but I guess some people misunderstand that as, you know, it's passive. It's not passive at all. Patience is actually very active in maintaining a mind of humility, a mind that is stable and flexible. It's a very strong state of mind. We really need patience, especially when you practice the Dharma. You know, we need to experience or utilize this patience, like I said, when being harmed and when we're experiencing obstacles, and because we don't understand the nature of reality yet. when we experience and come across these very profound teachings, then we shouldn't turn our back on them and we shouldn't fight against them, okay? So, like I said, sometimes people get the wrong idea of patience. They think it's weak, but actually it's, like I said, very strong. They may think it's passive, but it's actually very active. Not active in the sense now of agitation, okay? Active, calmly, patiently, with a clear mind, active. Then we have to wait, like they think that we have to wait for something rather than hurrying to grab it or something like that, or not hurrying, but being active in grabbing something. Like they think, oh, we should, let's say for instance, there's only 10 apples and 50 people want an apple each. You can have the apple, you can take the apple. Of course, you don't fight others for the apple, but you can have an apple. Actually, you have the apple, then you can share with some other people as well. I think you get what I mean, rather than standing back and letting everybody and then you starve to death. So it's not like that at all. We can achieve things. Patience doesn't mean you sit back all the time. Okay, so what else is there? What I just mentioned there actually you could say it's a type of laziness, really, and complacency. We should try to avoid that. It's very active, it's humble, it's stable, it's flexible, it's strong. Remember those 4 points, really important now that we're studying patience. Humble, be humble, very important. Don't be egotistical, otherwise we're going to get offended by lots of things. Be stable as much as possible, keep a stable mind, and also be flexible, able to deal with whatever that we experience in our lives. And also be strong, discipline that we've just spoken about in the last 3 weeks. This helps us to have a strong mind, okay, which then enables us to be more patient, more and more and more. So the Bodhicitta, which is the scripture or the text, you should say, of the Way of the Bodhisattva by Master Shantideva. Okay, the chapter, I just point this out, the chapter on patience is very long in this text. So that's just to let you know, if we do talk about this for an extra week rather than the 3 weeks that I originally allotted to it, just realize that lots of texts, when we talk and give commentary on patience, it's a lot of details. It's a very, very important perfection to achieve, okay? We can endure harm. How do you do that? One of the steps is forgiving. It doesn't mean that we don't help ourselves or protect ourselves, okay? But actually, we forgive. If somebody, for instance, is harming us, or circumstances are harming us, we forgive. We can forgive ourselves for being there. We can forgive the other, maybe the aggressor. We can forgive the action. Like I said, it doesn't mean that you don't protect yourself. It doesn't mean that you don't do something about it. And remember too that forgiveness initially helps yourself. It's like putting down your mental baggage, so we don't feel bad and get some sort of grudge or some sort of vengeful thoughts and vengeful actions, okay? Protecting our mind in a sense. It also can help others to let go of their baggage as well. Courageously dealing with hardships and obstacles is the next type of patience, also known as patience when confronting obstacles. Then we have we face reality without fear when we are patient with the nature of reality. We don't fear the nature of reality, because it can be quite scary, because we don't understand it yet. We hang on to this idea of ourselves. And so then if something is attacking that, if something appears to be contrary to how you have lived for so many lifetimes, we can be quite fearful of this. So try your best not to do this, not to be like that. So that's just, you could say, a kind of detailed overview, mentioning a few things on patience generally. And now we move on to the patience when being harmed. Like I said, this also can be known as patience of forgiveness. So If patience is lost in any situation, this is really important to understand this. And this, I wanted to mention this because I reminded myself of this text I mentioned before, The Way of the Bodhisattva by Master Shantideva, and the different aspects of that. I wrote a song related to this, and it's called Before We All Fall Down. It's related to not creating negative karma. But it says, the verse, I'm trying to think of the verse now. If patience is our friend, then why not cover ourselves in it? And anger is our foe. So let it go, just like you would the morning rain. In other words, if it's raining in the morning and the sun comes out, you let go of the rain, right? And so anger, you need to let it go, because as Master Shantideva says, one outburst of anger can destroy so much good karma that you've created already. That one moment, you think about that even just from a very simple point of view. If you're very patient, you're very calm, you're having a good day, and then something happens unsavory and you get angry at it, that destroys your state of mind at that time, doesn't it? It totally clouds your state of mind. Not only does this anger cloud your state of mind, but it also leads to physical stress. Maybe get a headache even from, getting like this, getting all tense, pulling on the neck muscles, pulling on the rhomboid muscles, and then up into your head. Your heart rate goes up, the blood pressure goes up. Maybe you even sweat. And I know that us human beings, we like to smell nice as much as we can. But actually, it's proven through science that when you get angry and react like this, we let out all of these toxins that are actually a bit stinky. So our breath can smell, and the body can smell. We don't want that. We don't want to be angry. So even if you right now have to think about the things I just mentioned there, yes, I said them with a bit of humor, but they're actually true as well. So even if you have to think like that, to be more patient in the beginning, okay? Until you start to create the habit of being more patient. Once we create this habit and then we do it more and more, it becomes more natural for us to do so. Okay, so whenever this anger pops up, recognize it, realize, as I mentioned in previous classes, our negative emotions, such as anger, they are very shy when we pay pure, in this sense, you can say patient awareness to them. They melt away, they go away. So, basically, so many of our good qualities, so much of our good merit or good karma and conditions we've created in the past kind of are destroyed, you could say. So a single fit of angry rage can destroy vast amounts of goodness and merit that we've accumulated over a very long period. So really think about that. That should motivate us not to give in to our anger and to be more patient, especially as in this sense when being harmed. Now, the harming, by the way, could be physical, it could be emotional, mental, it could be economical, it could be environmental, and all of these different aspects related to those, okay? We should apply this type of patience when we're being insulted to our face or at a distance, behind our back, for instance. Don't be offended so easily. Don't be so sensitive about things. In a sense, you could actually say that the person, if somebody's insulting you verbally, trying to put you down and things like that, to insult you, you can think that they're looking in a mirror actually at themselves, because the anger is directed towards ourselves to begin with, especially. Okay. And then if we're being physically attacked, robbed or defeated in some sort of way, this doesn't mean we shouldn't defend ourselves, like I said, but we should, instead of reacting with anger and seeking some sort of revenge, then in other words, acting in a similar way to your being treated, then we should be more proactive and respond with patient love and kindness and compassion and humility. Remember that if somebody, whether it's yourself or whether it's somebody else, in this case, somebody harming you, they are creating vast amounts of negative karma for themselves. Very bad, because they are not only having this anger arise in their mind, they're also acting out on it. They're following through with it. So you can say that You know, they are the ones being hurt in a sense. Remember, all living beings. We want all living beings, the bodhicitta intention, all living beings to attain enlightenment. You know, we don't want them to suffer. We want them to be happy along the way. We want them to have peace along the way to enlightenment. And so you can have this feeling of compassion because they're going to suffer. Give rise to this compassion. Give rise to this love and kindness, wanting them to replace this negative behavior with good, kind, and happy, you could say, behavior. And, you know, they're going to suffer from this karma. We don't want that. We really don't want that. Remember, we are all interrelated. You could say that, once again, in the spirit of this text, the way of the Bodhisattva, that if somebody is suffering, it's really our own suffering as well. We're not separated from that. Okay, so it's really important that we start to understand things like that. We're all interrelated. Okay, we want them to be happy and become enlightened. This is the bodhicitta intention, to reiterate. Okay, so I've got quite a few notes on the back of the page too. I got a slight feeling I may be able to get through this today, so I stick to my schedule, which doesn't always happen, does it? So we should also purify our bad karma with patience. Think about that. Like I mentioned before, if we act out in anger when being harmed, or respond with anger, whether it's mental, whether it's through our words or our actions, then we actually create bad karma. But if we're patient, we can create vast amounts of good karma that can help us to purify other negative karma that we may have created in the past. I'll give you an example. For instance, let's say the sky is really cloudy, but a big wind comes way up there. This wind blows the clouds out of the way. Maybe not all of them, but it disperses some of them. This is like our good karma, you know, in this sense, from being proactive and being patient, blowing away some negative karma, if not all, okay? I think maybe you can take that example with you. I think some of these good anecdotes and parables and metaphors, I think, are very helpful for us to remember the teachings. So many of our past negative karmas and obscurations, in other words, things that are blocking us from understanding the nature of reality, they can be exhausted by practicing patience. When we are hurt or insulted or unjustly accused of something, if we respond with loving kindness and compassion, this obviously then is developing more loving kindness and compassion. Can you see how this is increasing our good karma and good conditions to purify the negative karma? And like I said, we accumulate vast amounts of merits, which help us to develop the mind that is conducive to understanding the nature of reality. So those who hurt us are our teachers in this sense, aren't they? Because they're giving us the opportunity to develop more and more patience, and therefore more and more loving kindness and compassion and wisdom. We don't think about it like that normally, do we? We want to fight against them, fight back against them. But actually they're giving us the opportunity to practice. And so I'm trying to remember the verse. I think it's the 6th verse, or maybe I recite the 5th and the 6th verses of the 8 verses of thought transformation that we learned, I think 5 or 6 years ago in class. I gave commentary on this. And so when others out of jealousy mistreat us with slander, abuse, and so on, I will practice accepting their defeat and offering the victory to them. When someone I have benefited, in whom I've placed great trust, hurts me very badly, I will practice seeing that person as my supreme teacher. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to be a doormat, doesn't mean you're going to be walked over, doesn't mean you don't defend yourself, but we can turn this around to transform our mind. That's what these verses are there for, okay? And so maybe you can, rather than repeat those verses, you can replay this video and remind yourself of these verses, or you can look it up on the internet, the 8 verses of thought transformation, okay? And the first 7 relate to compassion and relative bodhicitta, and the last one relates to the wisdom of emptiness and the ultimate bodhicitta. Okay, and maybe we can do, maybe this is giving me an idea for future subjects, maybe we can actually utilize these 8 verses of thought transformation in future classes. Where am I up to? I've lost my spot. So yeah, that those who hurt us, if we transform our mind, we can see them as teachers. They provide us the conditions for us to practice. We need to tame our mind also with this bodhicitta. Taming, when we are more proactive and are patient, loving, kind, compassionate, then what we are doing is taming our mind so that we can train our mind and transform our mind with this great compassion, with this bodhicitta, the altruistic intention. It's the most essential point of all practice, actually, this taming the mind with the bodhicitta and transforming the mind with the bodhicitta. We should treat others with respect, no matter how they treat you or us. You know, we should still have this respect, because who are we respecting first? We're respecting ourselves first. To respect others, we must respect ourselves. To respect ourselves, we must respect others. Remember that aggressor, that person that may be harming, they actually, really, their true nature is loving and kind, just like ours. But right now, of course, they're not behaving like that. So you can be maybe a better influence on them by not reacting in an angry way as well. Be humble and modest is very important. So I have gone through all my notes, and I think that it's just under 1 minute now. So I'll give myself a little spiritual pat on the back for finishing what I wanted to finish today. You know, we'll continue these discussions. I may come up with some other thoughts on this particular type of patience and let you know in future classes. So next week we will go on to the patience when we're experiencing obstacles on the Dharma path. So take care, practice well. I rejoice in your goodness always.